Hey Nikki and Carew. It is Tuesday, July 23rd?
Could be.
Something like that. I just watched your video, Nikki, of going down to the beach. Looked like a good time was had by all. It's interesting though, it's fun because, you know, I see you guys at the beach and I think they must have rented a place at the beach to go to because it's too long of a drive to go to the beach for the day. Yeah, such is life here in Eastern Oregon. By the way, excellent job with your editing. I'm duly impressed with your ability to use transitions. I'm assuming that you're using some sort of Mac software for that, but could be wrong. It was cool, nonetheless. You asked me about the concussions, and so I talked to Carew, I think I've talked to him twice since I made my last video. And so my mother called and talked to Sarah and then talked to me, and she says that I have had, this is my 9th concussion. So I have had 4 concussions in non-soccer related activities and 5 concussions playing soccer. So I got a concussion playing against Shelton in high school. I got kicked in the head playing rec league at Yak Attack, actually, the Yakima tournament, for my 2nd concussion. Then I got hit in the head with an elbow playing for South Puget Sound Community College in one of my first games there. And then I got my legs cut out from under me when I was jumping up high for a ball the 2nd season at South Puget Sound, and I landed on my back and hit my head on the ground. And then I got this concussion, getting hit in the face with a ball. So not only was it a 5th concussion, it was the 4th way that I've gotten a concussion playing soccer. You asked about sleeping, and actually the thing about it is that if you're going to go into a coma because of a concussion, you're going to go into a coma, but you wake people up at night just to check to see that they're not in a coma so you can deal with it more quickly. That's my understanding anyway. I actually went to the doctor yesterday. On Friday, I played down at the farmer's market, and I didn't go to the doctor because, I can't remember how much of this I've said or not. I'm going to say it again. I didn't go to the doctor Friday because I felt pretty good most of Friday. And then I went down to the farmer's market and I played, and at the end of playing, I picked up an amp and I almost passed out. And so then I felt like crap, and I came home and I basically was a zombie for 12 hours. And I've been going to work, and so I went to the doctor and he was like, yeah, you're gonna feel bad, lie down and rest when you feel bad, and then if it's not better in a week or 2, call me and we'll do a CAT scan, or CT scan, I guess, or whatever scan they're gonna do, I don't know. So yeah, and I felt really crappy today. Actually, most of the day I was at work until around 12:30, and then I just came home and I ate lunch, and I thought I would lie down and see, you know, if I'd feel better. And I lay down and I was listening to music, and it was weird because I don't think I actually slept, because I listened to 2 albums of the Mountain Goats, and I got up the last one and I remember most of the songs. I might have slept a little bit during the 2nd album, but I was down for 2 hours and then I just still feel like crap. So yeah, I've just spent 5 minutes whining about how I feel. No more of that. So I'm glad to hear about your excitement of the Grand Canyon. I just love that kind of stuff. I think I already said that. The water temperature thing is really interesting because, yeah, it's crazy. In the Umatilla River, I think I told you this, my friend Scott did this study to show that groundwater surface water interaction is what mitigates the temperature and keeps it cool enough for fish to survive there, in the Umatilla River. And when they discovered all this stuff, an engineer came to them with a plan to build a system to pump water out of the shallow groundwater into the channel to cool it. And so he wants basically BPA to pay him to install this intricate thing, and then pay money to run it and maintain it, instead of just letting the river do what it's always done. Like somehow it's better to build an engineering solution that replicates what the river used to do, instead of just, you know, letting the river meander back and forth, in which case it would take care of that. It's crazy. Seems crazy to me. It was interesting to hear about your family's talent. I'm gonna go see if I can find the video interview you talked about your uncle or cousin or whoever it is, the guy who's the giant genius. And you can start. I want that copyrighted if you start calling him the giant genius. I get royalties for that. But interesting story. It's always interesting to hear about other people's families and kind of the cool things. Giant genius who invented the internet. I also, it's cool that you have family that likes to sing and yodel and do things like that. You know, we don't do, it's weird because we don't have that big of a family, because my mother only had one brother and my dad was an only child. But, you know, my immediate family, most people do something musical. And my dad is a really big ham, and Tom is actually a big ham as well. And I would say that I'm not as big of a ham as they are, but others may disagree. So it's cool that you do all that stuff as family reunions. I'm sorry to hear, you know, I just went on and on about my body being in bad shape, but I'm really sorry to hear about your physical ills, Nikki. If I'm tallying correctly, you have a broken toe, a bruised palm, and shingles. And I gotta tell you, I got shingles too. It was 8 years ago now?
Yeah.
8 years ago. So I was in my 30s when I got shingles. And actually, we'd only been here for a couple of years, and I went to an Association of American Geographers conference in Philadelphia. And we flew into State College and Bryn and I went together, and we stayed with a friend of ours at Penn State. And the first morning when I woke up there, I had a rash that went over my shoulder and, you know, off my back and over my shoulder and down onto my chest. And I too thought it was bug bites, and I didn't want to say anything because I was embarrassed, you know, if there were bugs in their bedding. And so I kind of didn't say anything, and then the next day I went down to Philadelphia to stay in a hotel while Bryn stayed with them and their daughter to hang out. And I got to my hotel room, and like the second day of the conference, I just thought I was gonna die. I had a fever, I had chills in the middle of the night, and I couldn't sleep, and I'd have, you know, sweats. You know how it is when you have a fever. And I went and I lay on the floor of the bathroom because the cool tiles felt good, and I actually fell asleep on the floor of the bathroom and woke up, and I literally thought, I am going to die in a bathroom in a hotel in Philadelphia, and nobody's going to find me for 2 days. And then I realized the next morning that Deb lived in Philadelphia, and she's a doctor. And so I called her up and I said, hey, Deb. And I called Sarah first of all, and Sarah's like, you have shingles. And I was like, I don't think I have shingles. And she goes, no, you got shingles. So I called Deb, and I actually went and spent the night with Deb and Earl. And Deb said, yeah, you have shingles. If you'd called me the first day they showed up, I could have given you antivirals, and it would have helped you get over it sooner. But, you know, I don't remember how long it lasted. It was a couple weeks, and the rash was really painful. It was over my shoulder, so anytime I had a bag that I was carrying over my shoulder, and anytime I put it on my shoulder, it really hurt because I had all those sores. So I'm sorry to hear you're going through that as well. It's no fun at all. Yeah, I was surprised actually, Nikki. I kind of thought that when you found out I got a concussion from getting hit in the face with a soccer ball, that you would, after the way I responded when you got hit in the head with a softball, that you would tell me that it was because nobody likes me and they were trying to hit me, which is probably true. But the same guy who hit me with the soccer ball hit Sarah in the stomach with it shortly before that on a similar play. So maybe he didn't like Sarah either. I have to bring up your sound quality because in the last section of your video, the wind was awfully difficult to hear your sound over. And, you know, I don't know about Carew, but, you know, I would never allow that to happen in one of my videos. I'm way too professional for that. Actually, I was looking online. There are shotgun mics, little tiny shotgun mics you can buy for these kind of cameras, and I think I may get one. There's also lapel mics that you can get, and you get a lapel mic with not only the little foam thing, but also a thing that looks like a dead cat that you can slide over the top of it that's supposed to prevent wind noise. Seriously, so. And the little lapel mics are only like $35, whereas the shotgun mics are like $150. So I may, in fact, at some point invest in a lapel mic. Yeah, so let me see. I think that's everything we've been through there. Gareth has been driving a couple times with Sarah, and I guess he ran over a curb today driving, but he's doing well. Yeah, so Sarah and Gareth and Taryn and my sister and my mother and other various relatives are all taking a trip down to the Redwoods, leaving on Saturday. So that should be fun. I'll be here. I'm not allowed to play. I'm not supposed to actually exercise vigorously for a couple weeks because of the concussion, and I'm not supposed to play soccer for 3 weeks to a month, he said. And so I'm kind of like at a loss of what I'm going to do with my free time. I guess I have to play music. But I've also, you know, I have been spending less time on the computer because the eye strain bothers me. So yeah. Carew I spoke to briefly, and sounds like things are going well with him. I'll let him make a video, but yeah, I also actually, I don't know, I sent Carew a link to a couple of videos, music videos, and one was Foster the People playing 3 songs live in the NPR studios, which was kind of cool actually. I was surprised. I kind of, you know, because I've heard their studio stuff and I just don't like it, you know. Pumped Up Kicks, the released version, doesn't do anything for me. It's like so manufactured and so, oh, it's funny, I just saw today a video for a song called Payphone, and Walk Off the Earth did a cover of it. And I guess it's a Maroon 5 song, and I've never seen Maroon 5 or heard any of their stuff, so I clicked on the video of them doing it, and I'm just like, you know, the guy's voice is so processed. It's like, you know, and he's the lead singer of Maroon 5, and I think his name's Adam something. I've seen him. The only way I'm familiar with him is I've seen pictures of him from Lakers games. Crazy, but you know, it's just like, it's so processed. You don't even know if the guy can sing. I mean, anybody can post-process their voice to make it sound good, and that's the kind of the Foster the People, the way that when I've heard them, and I just don't. I don't know. I'm just not. I don't find that music engaging. I find it sterile and sort of inhuman in a way. Even catchy songs. So yeah. I don't know. I prefer Brothers Comatose. And actually, like I said, I actually liked the acoustic versions of Pumped Up Kicks and the other 2 songs that they did in that NPR video. So, and I don't know, I saw there's a video of Kimbra from South by Southwest where she actually does something, I forget the name of the song, but she basically does it a cappella with a loop track, and so she loops different sounds. She makes all these sounds with her voice and loops them and then sings over it. and she's all by herself, kind of in the yard of this house with a bunch of people watching her, and she does this. And it sounds pretty cool. Now, once again, it's hard to tell how much post-processing is done. You know, they've had a lot of reverb and stuff, but at least, you know, she's kind of producing that herself, rather than, you know, you're going in a studio, you're doing 70 takes, and you're taking the best word in each take and cutting it together to make a song. I don't know. That just, I mean, there's really nothing wrong with that, per se, but it just strikes me as, I don't know, cold and inhuman. Anyway, I'm rambling now. Hopefully I'll talk to you. The idea of coming up with a new sign-off sounds good, but it has to be something that's sort of organic. It has to come from the gut. It has to be good. But anyway, we can talk about that. I'll talk to you guys later.